Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Positive Power 21.org and Spreaker.com/Positive Power 21. You're listening to Inspirational Vibes with Sabrina.
Welcome to the Inspirational Vibes segment with Sabrina, part of the Jerry Royce Live Radio Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm going to be talking about living on purpose. It is so very important that we know what our purpose for living in. If we do not know what our purpose is for life, our life can become meaningless, dull, and we can be always in search of our next move, not knowing what we want to do with our lives, not knowing what dreams we are here to fulfill. And it can just leave a void within us in search of what our true identity is or what our true purpose is for life here on earth. So it is very important that we know what our purpose is. And how do we do this? A lot of times people know from a youth what they want to do in life. I remember at a very early age, I decided that I wanted to teach. Initially, I thought that I wanted to teach on the college level, and I did. And a while later, I kind of second guessed that and thought that I wanted to do secondary education. So I used to go back and forth between the two. I was inspired by my teachers, like Miss Paulette King, who was one of my high school English teachers, and some of my elementary school teachers. Like I had two Chandlers that taught me, Deborah Chandler and Miss Mary Chandler. Both of those were very good, and I just took a liking to them, and they really got me interested in teaching. Another one, Miss Elizabeth Jonte, and the list just goes on and on. I remember Miss Sadie Cooper taught me so much about science and taught us, how to be engaged. And Miss Mahalia surely gave us a good foundation on advanced math principles. So all of these teachers had a profound effect on me. And then there were also those who were in the school system, like the coaches and the guidance counselors. Like my basketball coach in high school was Miss Deborah Keels. I looked up to her a lot as our librarian and media specialist, but she also was there to engage us on a coaching level also. So there were so many perks I felt, so many connections that you can make with students by working on the secondary level. But there was something about the term professor that really engaged me a lot. And I knew that there would also be committees and extracurricular groups that you could support by being a professor also. So I knew early on that I wanted to teach. And I thought that by doing so, I would be able to give back and pour into students in a long-term manner. So when I went to college, I started out as an English education major. And up until my junior year, I kept that track. But I hit a road bump with a course that seemed to be extremely difficult for me. Even though I came out of it with a passing grade, it just made me question how much material I was behind on. There were so many novels that I had not read, and it made me feel compelled to want to seek other means for education. So I switched over to business administration track, and there I chose to major in accounting and management information systems. But even with that, my desire to teach was still there. So now I knew that it wouldn't be in the secondary format because I changed up my minor. My minor was education. So now I had dropped that and just focused on these new majors of accounting and MIS. And in so doing, I then had to search again for what my purpose or what I would do with a degree in accounting. And the road was not easy. After I graduated, I wasn't sure which direction I wanted to go in. I knew that I liked audit, and that seemed to be very fun for me. But the whole number crunching, the CPAs, and, it just didn't really feel a good fit for those type of things, because I just thought, oh, they work so many hard hours. They have to go to all of these different places. So internal audit seemed to be something more meaningful to me, or something that I was more interested in, I would say. And I got one job offer through Blue Cross, but where I could be an internal auditor with them, but it would require me to travel because they had another main headquarter, or one of their second headquarters was in, I think, Dallas, Texas. So I knew that I would have to fly to Texas a lot. And my mother was not that thrilled about that. She had never flown before, and I guess just to have her baby girl actually flying so frequently, kind of bothered her a bit. So we chose not to take on that job. So that left me having to find other means, and I went everywhere from being an accounting clerk to an assistant accountant to working in the mortgage industry in their accounting departments, and just different departments in general. And there was still this interest that lied within for me to teach. So I went on to get my master's degree, and that allowed me to teach at career schools as well as community colleges. And in the state of South Carolina, we have what we call the South Carolina or the Community College Technical College System. They're technical colleges, and there are about 16 of them. And it opened the door by having my master's degree in business. It opened the door and allowed me to teach at these different locations. And the very first one, I'll never forget, Miss Jackie Blakely, she took a chance with me and allowed me to teach at her institution, Tri-County Tech, up in Greenville, South Carolina. Not Greenville, I'm sorry. Near Clemson, South Carolina, in this small town of Pendleton, South Carolina. And there my teaching career began. And I loved it. I loved going in the classroom, meeting the students, having one-on-one conversations with them. They have no idea how much a teacher has to do behind the scenes to get ready for each day, but I enjoyed it so much. It really felt like I was doing something meaningful by giving these students instructions, allowing them to learn new ideas and concepts about marketing, about office management, about all of these different business principles that we went over. And it was fun creating, assignments for them and marketing plans. And they would complain about it so much, but they would enjoy it once they got to that stage of presentation. So I enjoyed what I did a lot. And when you are trying to live on purpose, when you are trying to define what it is that you want to do and why you should be doing it, you should feel joyful about doing it. So many people have jobs where they are not engaged, or they only are going for the paycheck. That's the only motivation that they have. They knew that at the end of the week or at the end of the month, they're going to be getting a paycheck to help them pay their bills. But they may not be doing something that they really love. They may not be doing something that they feel is helping other people or benefiting others in their community or in their area in which they live. So it's like a void to them. They still are in search of finding something else to do. And maybe living out your purpose may not come through your job. It may come through extracurricular activities that you are involved in. In the church, there are a lot of auxiliaries that you can become a member of, whether it's ushering or singing on the choir, or if you have some after-school programs at your church, you may volunteer with those or agree to teach in one of those classes. So it may come in that type of format, or it may come through serving a nonprofit or something with a very charitable cause that you don't mind supporting. There are some former athletes, like my brother-in-law. He played sports in high school. He played football, he played basketball and baseball. And now he has his coaching credentials through the rec departments in the state of South Carolina and in Columbia, South Carolina. So he has been a basketball coach at a number of different rec leagues for the past few years. This allows him to live out his purpose because he's able to teach fundamentals to his players. He's able to engage with them and their families. He's able to mentor them and connect with them. And he really takes a liking to that. a sister of mine, Carmela. She has a card ministry where she makes these cards, greeting cards, and she does them for all occasions, and they're so beautiful. She'll start off with these little pieces of ideas, and then the end product is a beautiful piece that she creates. And you can find her on Facebook at Carmela's Creative Hands. But even before she started doing it for sale, she also just sent cards out at random to people on their birthdays. Like, I can ask her any one of my aunts or uncles' birthdays, she knows it. Most of the first cousins, she knows their birthdays. Even our second cousin, she has learned a lot of their birthdays. And she would mail them a card on their birthday. I'll never forget, we have a little cousin, Sammy. He's the son of our cousin Kimberly and Roscoe Hawkins. And I remember Sammy was turning either 3 or 5 years old. And she was like, I'm going to mail Sammy a card. And I was like, what? You going to mail him a card? He's just a little boy. And she still just wanted to do it. And with that, after that, it just became such a strong thing for her that she started making these greeting cards. And now, anytime she continues to mail them out on birthdays, she also does them like if someone is hospitalized or needs some encouragement, she'll mail them a card. And it is so meaningful, so many times she has been told, oh, that card meant so much to me. Or I have that card on my, my desk at work, and I look at it every day. So many times, she has been told that it has uplifted their spirits when they were going through, or, encouraged them when they may have been hospitalized. And that is what her purpose, she feels, is. She also helps, very much so, like my dear friend, Miss Vernitha Gary. She is kind of like what she was to me at the time. Miss Vernitha Gary, when we were growing up, all of the kids in our little community used to end up at her house. And she had a daughter, Bethania. She and I were the same age, and her mom just took us in just like we were her own children. I would eat there after school. I would play with Bethania, and so many other kids out of the community would come, and we would end up playing yard basketball or yard football, or riding our bikes down the road a bit, just anything that we can do to fill up our time until our parents got home, and even sometimes beyond. But Miss Vernitha just provided so much support for us just by allowing us to be under her watch care, and just, engaging in our lives, and just encouraging us to be good and kind and getting along with each other. She instilled a lot of fundamentals in us. And now my sister also does that for children in her community. A lot of times, like if someone, needs someone to watch over their child for a period of time, she does that in her community. And in the city, so oftentimes we don't know who our neighbors are. But my sister, she pretty much knows everyone in her community in Casey, South Carolina. And it is so amazing to me. But that's just the spirit that she has. That's just the openness and the friendliness that she has. And God blesses her for that. So her purpose, she feels, is to kind of like be a missionary for others. Like, be there when they're down, give them an encouraging word, help them to grow spiritually, because she's a very spiritual person, and just nurture those who are in need. And she is truly living out that purpose, and I couldn't be more proud of her for that. So it's not necessarily that it is your work. It's not necessarily that it is going to be some type of club or organization you can belong to. It may just be something that you enjoy doing, but it's always something that has a meaning. And when we're able to live out on purpose, I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago about being the salt of the earth. It allows us to make sure that we are being salt of the earth, and we are adding value to those around us and to the communities in which we live. So living on purpose is very important. And I encourage us, if you don't know what your purpose is, if you haven't to that point yet in life where you realize this is what I should be doing, this is what I should be engaged in, do some soul searching. Figure out what your hobbies are. figure out what your interests are and allow those things to kind of direct you to help you figure out what your purpose really is and pray on it. Sometimes it takes an intervention with God for him to direct you and say, I need you here. I need you to be walking in this walk, or developing in this ministry, or making this connection with people here. A lot of times it will take God to answer that prayer for us. But whether it's something that you come to grips with on your own or through seeking God and asking him, just make sure that you figure out what it is so that you can live on purpose and your life can be more meaningful. When you don't know what you're here for, when you don't know what your calling is, or how you should be, supporting others, it makes you feel more empty inside. It makes you feel like you are just existing. But when you come to grips with that, the joy will always continue. I have a number of previous students that I still keep in contact with, and it reminds me, like I have an email roster for all of my former students, and I need to just send out an email to them again. I do that, try to do that periodically, and I keep up with a few of them on Facebook, and a few of them I call. But it adds so much meaning to me when I see my students going on after our class and doing great things. Some of them are able to start their own businesses. Like I know one of my former students, her name is Lisa Ruff, and we're still Facebook friends. Now she has her own realty company, and I am just so proud of her. She doesn't know what it means to see her go on in that light. Another friend, a former student of mine and friend, her name is Shalonda Ellis, and she has a baking business that she does. She makes these beautiful cupcakes and cakes, and the only reason I haven't bought one yet, I'm trying to get some weight off, but I declare I want one of those cupcakes so bad because they look so tempting and delicious. But her name is Shalonda Ellis, and she has gone on to, to create her business where she creates cupcakes and different tasty desserts for people. So it is just so good to look at them and to see that now they are finding, their dreams. They're finding these ways to give back or to make income or just do something that is of interest to them. I can tell that Shalonda loves baking so much just by the posts that she makes. She'll say that the kitchen is open or the bakery is open, and these are the items that she's making, and she'll advertise about it and things of that nature. And Lisa Ruff, oh, the pride that I see in her whenever she talks about a house that she just sold. And she'll post the pictures with the customers. And I know that that is a great feeling because you have accomplished a task that was a dream for that customer, and you helped to make it a reality. So I know she gets a whole lot of joy out of that. And it is just amazing. And it's just so good for me to be able to say, oh, and they were once a student of mine. By no means am I taking credit for them making their dreams come true, but it's just good to know that I had that connection with them. And now I'm able to see them living out their dreams and living out what their purpose is for life. So again, in life, and sometimes it may be different things that bring us to it. For example, like for me, I had a heart disease that I developed in 2007 after a case with walking pneumonia. And after 2009 and 2010, I just had to fight to get my energy back, to get my health back, because it felt like I was deteriorating, or, like I just didn't know what was going to come about. So by 2010, I had to have surgery. And after that, I had to find the will to live again. So I allowed one of my purposes is to encourage or promote good health, like heart health, and to reach out to those who may be experiencing other heart health challenges. There are many diseases that plague our land, and so many people think, oh, if something wrong with your heart, you just need to lose weight. But I have seen people with CHF in all sizes. One of my friends who also had the LVAD, who went on to have another surgery, a transplant surgery, she doesn't even weigh 100 pounds. So for us, it was something that attacked our heart that damaged it. For me, it was walking pneumonia. So, like, I vowed after I got well, after my surgery, I wanted to have a Zumbathon because I took on Zumba a couple of years after that, and I just got so much joy out of it. So, year before last, I had a Zumbathon where I had people to come, and I had a nutritionist to come in, and I had someone from the hospital to talk about heart health and what it really meant. And I had vendors to come in, and it wouldn't have been possible without the Zumba instructors and without Mr. Cheater at the rec facility, the Hyatt Park in Columbia, South Carolina, who opened the doors for us and allowed us to have our session there. And it just brought so many people together to engage them about heart health. And when we have our heart walk, I think it's in the month of February or March, a number of friends of mine, like we'll develop a team. I call them the Sabrina Heart Angels. And I just get so much excitement out of seeing that day come. And we walk together during the course, my first year doing it, I did the 3-mile walk. It's a 5K. And it whipped my behind because let me tell you, city miles walking are not the same as regular walking on flat surfaces. So many inclines. So this year I only did the 1 mile, but it meant the world of me to have some of my best friends with me. Thea and Hope, they were right there with me. Miss Linda Crumpton, they did the entire walk, her and her husband. And it just meant so much. The first year, I had even more people with me, my friend Lavette and my friend Marsha and her brother Virgil. It was just so good having a whole team. And so many people pouring money into the cause. And that money will go to the American Heart Association, our local chapter, to allow them to put on different programs and give out information about heart health and have these different drives where they go around and talk to people and put on workshops and different programs. They even do a campaign where they go around and for Heart Month, they will paint a red dress silhouette to signify heart health awareness. So they do a number of things in the community and in our local areas, so that, they have a strong reach. So it feels good to be on one side one year, and then in the next side pouring into these things that will engage and enrich other people's lives. It really defines what living on purpose really is all about. And it just shows us what you can do with your life and not allowing obstacles or setbacks to overtake you, but to actually find meaning in those things as well, and just to create a new purpose and a new identity for you. So I try to do a number of things, and I know so many other people try to do the same thing. One of my friends, Rakia, I saw her post the other day that she's going to be on her church's praise team because she always wanted to work in some type of ministry within the church and become more engaged as a church member. And so those are just the defining moments in our lives where we allow ourselves to say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. In addition to that, she also teaches African dance. And I have not been able to see one of her shows yet, but I was able to see her in action when she had helped with an event where one of the dancers was in a real bad accident, and they put on a big charity show for him to help raise money for him. And when the dance team came out, she got on the stage with them, and it was just so good to see her in her element. You can just tell that this is one of her true passions. So one of her passions is to engage in physical activity and connect with our heritage through African dance. Another good friend of mine, her name is Carla. Carla started out as a Zumba instructor for the rec area, like in our rec parks system in Columbia, South Carolina, through the city of Columbia. But now she has a studio of her own. And I can't wait to go to one of the Zumba classes I've just had so much other things, I've had to deal with. But now it is so good to see her talk about, like owning her own studio and owning her own space, because she also had a mentoring program where she helped girls. They call Girl Meet World program. And now she'll be able to have all of these Zumba performances, these Zumba classes, as well as other dance classes to help people, just to stay active and fit and get in shape, it's just so inspiring to see all of these different things manifest, and to see her be able to live out her dream and her purpose for why she's here, why she feels she's here. And it just adds so much meaning to her life. You can tell that she's very happy in her element. Every time she posts about it, you can just see the excitement, definitely the excitement through the pictures. And if you've ever witnessed one of her classes live, oh my God, the energy that she has throughout. And all of the Zumba instructors that she connected with, they call themselves DEC, and it stands for the initials of all of the people that work with them, Deetra and Erica and all of those. And it is just so sweet. You can just see the passion that they have, as well as other Zumba instructors I know in the area. And when I need them, they're always there. They always try to support different things that I have. Like we have a family fun day, a community family fun day at our church. And I can always get one of them to come out and support it. My friend Trace, she did a phenomenal job the second year that I invited them out, and a number of other of them, they participated that first year that I asked them to come out. So it is just so good just to be able to live on purpose, to give back, to find that thing within you that drives you to live. Because that's what living on purpose is. It is that one thing that you can say, I live to do this. This is the thing that brings me joy. This is the thing that gives me meaning. So I encourage you just to live on purpose. You've been inspirationally vibed, and I appreciate you for listening, and have a wonderful day. You can also view me online at www.ablsandpoetrybooks.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Positive Power 21.org and Spreaker.com/Positive Power 21. You're listening to Inspirational Vibes with Sabrina.